that this is a weekly series where I sit down and go through some of the learnings, some of the failures, and some of the wins that I've learned over the last week in the hopes that I can distill some real value to yourself or your clients in a practical way that allows you all to win. So without getting too deep into it, let's just start. So as always, we're gonna do an active client update, and thankfully I can report active clients, we are now at 6. We've just taken on our second international client based in Singapore. There's a whole story to how I actually met them in between transit on a stopover on the way back from Canada earlier this year, which is crazy. And there's probably a whole video about, kind of putting yourself in the right place to meet the right people. But for now, yeah, really stoked. Obviously that conversation's been on for a while and it finally closed. So nice to see them come on board, and obviously with Q4, Black Friday, everything like that, there's a crucial time for them to start pivoting and entering the Australian market. So really excited to see what Stay a While's content can do for them. And yeah, again, really stoked. And I'll share more about the creatives that we build with them as well. All right, so the next one's booked calls. We have 6 booked calls. Now this is a follow-up for the last few weeks when we've been building out our internal lead gen system purely through paid advertising as of right now. Later in the video, we actually do touch on client acquisition, not paid, so how to just do it organically. So if you want, you can definitely skip ahead and try to find that. But for now, if you'd like to know how the paid stuff's going, as of recording just now, the week just gone, so it's Sunday, we had 6 calls booked in. And to give you the exact figures, I'm gonna read off my phone. I hate doing this shit because I think it's so unprofessional, but just so I can give you the exact figures. We spent $273 across 4 days, and then we turned it off. We were currently getting a cost per call book in at $45. So for every $45 we spent, we had a call book in, and we had 6 calls booked in. So overall, the reason we paused it and we kind of shut it down is because, well, yeah, the reason being, let's talk about that. The leads were not really qualified. To be fully transparent, I think it is the hardest and most common bottleneck that agencies, services, creatives face, which is who your ideal target audience is, but trying to find them is really hard. And when you run these ads, there's this certain amount of friction you need to apply to almost qualify the leads before they can get on a call with you. And dialing in that level of friction is like really where ads live and die. So for us, we're still in the process of refining that. The next steps moving forward is we are going to refine the friction and place more of it into the booking process to really wash away the brands that aren't qualified. And 2, we're actually going to approach the content in a really different way. For context, we were running really lo-fi UGC style and testimonials from clients in the hope that it would come across authentic and really honest. However, I think upon hindsight, reviewing the data, running the tests, I realized that what it does is actually showcase that a creative agency isn't able to make creative videos. You know what I'm saying? So the pivot now is going to be obviously putting myself and the editors at task to kind of smash this in and really nail a high quality video and test to see what the difference is. It's one of those things, you're trying to sell a service or being a content agency, and if the ads you're using to attract clients look shit, you're probably not positioning yourself in the best way. And this is just a learning curve. In my mind, authentic was best. However, that clearly may not be the case. So I'll keep you guys updated as always on how that progresses and what the new round of ads look like. But for now, we had 6 calls booked in at $45 a call. Really happy with that, to be honest, because it's really building out the secondary business that I'm about to start. And yeah, I'll touch base on that next week. We are currently building a weekly newsletter for 2 reasons. 1, for our internal clients to kind of keep them in the loop of behind the scenes shoots, wins, everything like that. There's going to be 2. That one is going to be internal, so that for clients that feel like they want to be a part of like a bigger community, there's going to be like a notice board, everything like that, and kind of showcase to all the other clients who's winning, how they're winning, and basically what other lessons they could take. The true reason for this is me just trying to figure out how I can provide more value than I'm already giving to the clients in here. So by distilling the information from one client and passing it on to the rest in a way that's obviously legal and allows them to also have wins, it's just a net positive. The other newsletter we're building is obviously external for everyone outside of the company. I'm so sorry, let me have a drink of water. God damn. I feel like a toddler drinking a water bottle this big. Anyway, So the other reason is obviously external, to have other people be a part of this process. And I'm really in the stage of trying to figure out exactly what this newsletter needs to look like and how to provide the most value in the most ethical and honest way possible. So for me, the initial stage is obviously what are we good at and what can we always guarantee we will be, which is the creative elements of a shoot and edit and also the ad itself. So I think there's going to be a component of the newsletter right now that goes down the creative of the week in probably a bit more of an in-depth style. So if you've enjoyed this style of content where I go through the creative of the week, probably keep your eyes peeled. Next week or the week after we'll be launching that newsletter, and I'd love to have you all on there and get some feedback as soon as possible. Alrighty, win. Now this is actually one I have to thank you for. To be fully transparent, YouTube was something I wanted to do since I was like 13 years old. I gave it a crack when I was really young and did the classic vlog style thing, and it just never felt 100% aligned with who I was. And fast forward 12, 13, 14 years later, I'm in a place where I'm creating and we hit 100 subs, which is obviously like such a vanity metric, and then we lost 2, so we're at 98 now, but I'm counting the win at 100. It's just a really nice reflection and something to distill and pass on to you guys, that sometimes the output doesn't have to be anything tangible as long as you feel good doing it. It's easy in business to get so caught up in just creating outcome-based activities, which, don't get me wrong, if it's trying to move the needle, absolutely should be the case. But if you were just looking for ways to reach a new community, build something you love, or just create, I don't necessarily think you should be attached to the outcome. I think with most things in life, if you can create without purpose, you kind of open yourself up to endless possibilities. And I just want to say thank you to 98 of you who are still here and tune in. It really means the world. So on to the next. So this is now like just a weekly thing where I'm actually going to go back and take one of the comments that you guys leave below about my systems, processes, all of that, and just respond to it, because I think some of them are really valid questions and really high intent, and I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't answer them honestly. So this is the question. I'm going to place it up here. I apologize. I'm going to not get that name right, but thank you so much for commenting, and that's the second or third video you have commented on, and that means the world. So the whole premise of this is going to be like, how do we attract clients without spending a cent on ads? So let me explain to you my process. So before we kind of go down and deep into kind of like that process, we need to just identify and define 2 things to kind of like make it easier. One, who is your ideal target audience? Who's your client? What are they doing? How much they make in revenue, like buying psychology, what do they consume, their average order, all of this. What industry are they in? Having that completely dialed in is number 1. Number 2 is defining, and I've got it here, so I apologize, I keep looking down, is the ideal outcome you are chasing. Okay, so is this going to be calls booked, follows, comments, shares? Whatever that is, you need to really hone in on what that is, because essentially 1, it'll let you know who you are trying to attract, and 2, knowing what outcomes you're kind of trying to optimize for. It's really important once those 2 are defined and you have an outcome attached, it then allows you to test and scale, rinse and repeat. If you don't have this, you're just throwing shit in the wind and kind of seeing what sticks and who it finds. But if you can define who it is and the outcome that you want, it makes it much easier to get there. Much more of a linear process than just scrambling. So you have those 2 defined, what next? Everyone has their own approach to this, but this is how I've genuinely done it across my business and my personal account. So we have 3 pillars of content. Content number 1, educate. So you want to go deep on the systems and processes of your offer and business and really explain how this works. Do tips, tricks, workshops, masterclasses. Let people in. Let people feel like they can trust you. It is the most like obvious thing ever, but the goal of this content, although maybe to educate them and make them learn something and achieve it, is also subconsciously you are exchanging the most valuable currency in the digital landscape, which is trust. We are trying to bank as much trust as humanly possible so that when they do eventually book on a call, we've slowly gotten to a point where they feel like they know us, and that you can't replace. That's priceless. So number 1, educate. Number 2 is entertain. You're a marketing agency. Prove it. You are some type of business. Prove it. Show real case studies of your work and fun videos and insights that are really industry specific. So it kind of lets them feel like they're a part of either your workplace, your culture, or your industry. And like an example I'll give just for like the creative agency space is whenever you work within a team and you have someone that's helping you with your Instagram and you're starting very early on or even, X amount of years in, most of the time they're gonna have a phone, that's the work phone, and a phone that's their phone, however, or they might be logged into the business account. Long story short, there is a TikTok out there that exists where it's like when you finally posted the reel and then you realize it was on your personal account. It is such a niche and weird joke and inside kind of look into what we do, but that kind of like, I understand that, I get that problem, that's happened to us, is again, another way that trust is just slowly beginning to build. So the last one is inspire. Show clients testimonials, before and afters, the results, client wins, all of those things, the end result of what it would be like to work with you as a company. You got to think it's like when you see those motivational reels. There's something about them that inspires you because you are the target audience. You want to do the same thing for your clients. You want them to see a reel and almost be like, I wish that was my product. I wish that was my business. I wish that was my service. Inspire them to what's possible when they work with you. So again, I just want to be very transparent. The whole premise of these concepts and these pillars is to increase trust and remove objections. Objections is any obstacle you face when on a sales call. And if you are consistent and really focus on quality, not of DSLR cameras or anything like that, but of the value you provide, you will, over a long enough period of time, reduce the objections that you will find on a call and increase the trust that clients will have when they book in. Which again, I want to reiterate, is invaluable, because the difference between a client jumping on a call who feels like they know you and a client who doesn't is chalk and cheese. You will feel that friction more than ever. So just think, is this video not only serving value, but is it building trust in a way that eventually you could leverage? Because the truth is, like, if you run an agency, like, we operate in one of the most saturated markets on earth. But the brutal truth is like 90% have no clue what they're doing. And most of the time are still putting out these really polished, weirdly put together Instagram feeds that look like they belong in 2013. If that's the case, you have much bigger problems than trying to get clients. So just think, if you can be the agency that builds trust versus building face, that face value, that superficial metric of just looking pretty, you'll win. There's no doubt. Think about every business you ever worked with or ever attempted to buy from. There's a level of trust in either the product being exceptional or the service. It's not rocket science, but it does take time. An easy step-by-step is generate ideas on ChatGPT, find a posting cadence that works for you, find an outcome that works for you, and iterate. In a nutshell, you want to share the systems and processes and sell the implementation of them. Now, the creator of the week is a green screen UGC. Now, this is one that I hope you've seen everywhere, and the main reason is because it is one of the most effective ways for so many reasons to advertise your product or service. Let's talk about it. So two things are really important about these, and one, it's the face, and two, it's the system that's happening in the background. There's a really interesting approach to like buying psychology and selling when it comes to locking eyes with someone for like UGC content. It kind of distills trust if it feels real and authentic, and the process should support what the creator is saying to just obviously have it flowing, versus having to cut between face, B-roll, face, B-roll, face, B-roll, face, B-roll. The whole thing, you get that out, it does a lot of just annoying things for an editor as well. So if you're a company that's trying to figure out ways to create content at a high scale and high volume, this is it. Because the reality is, once the creator is filmed against a white neutral background or a neutral background of any kind, and used even an app as simple as CapCut, you can create as many variations of this as humanly possible that match what the creator is saying. So the process that's worked really well for my clients has been going through online shopping experiences, or even highlighting how bundles work and sales. So how to use the check-in code, everything like that. It's a really easy thing to action, and I think every brand should at least try it once. So please, again, if yourself or your clients try this and it works, I would love to know down below. I love everyone for jumping on these videos. I appreciate it so much. I'll be honest and share something that I'm working on behind the scenes, which is a second business to Stay a While. Stay a While will always be the foundation of everything I do. However, I'm looking at starting a second business where I can essentially create the clients that Stay a While needs. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I'm going to be going over that more in the next few weeks, but for now we are still in the mapping stage. That is a reference to a video earlier on. So again, thanks so much for watching. All the links for everything are down below, and I'll see you next week.